Hey, so I finally got an SD card with a lot of data, and I was like, hey, I always wanted to start some kind of a YouTube channel, and I love talking to myself. So, I decided to try out AuthorTube. Woo! Yeah. So this is gonna be an introductory video. I thought a long time, was like, should I put makeup for this? Should I care what I'm wearing? And I was like, you know what? The main thing I want with this is to be real. So honestly, I'm not gonna put on makeup probably most of the time, so let's start out with that, alright? Anyways, first of all, how did I find out about AuthorTube? Obviously watching Alexa's Dunn's videos, they're fantastic. I can't believe she posts those for free. I'm like, wow. Been super helpful to me as a writer, and I feel like I got things to offer too, so offer as well, so we'll see how that goes. Genre. So I write mostly speculative fiction, and most of that is fantasy, especially fairy tale based. I freaking love fairy tales. Dang it, it's over there. I have a nice, beautiful Grimm set, one of the ones you get from Barnes & Nobles. It's great. But I also really love I like some sci-fi, especially it's got like deep things that make you think in it. And unfortunately, my favorite genre to write is historical, but not. Alternate world historical, which there's not really a market for at this point. So most of those stories I kind of have on a back burner until I figure out what to call those. So, yeah, that's the main thing for genre. I have worked in some dystopia and usually near future dystopia. I do have one space story though, it's kind of fun. And then, yeah, a lot of fairy tale stuff. My preferred tense/point of view. My favorite is actually third person omniscient, as if you're Jane Austen, okay? She even breaks the wall. Jane Austen is a good writer, and that's a good quality tense, and I don't know about you, but like, I have a hard time when authors change point of view at the last minute because they realize they actually wanted this character to go unconscious, so they're like, oh wait a minute, actually I have to switch point of view. Or if you're in a certain famous character's point of view and there's a whole freaking revolution going on at the school he's at, but we don't get it because we're stuck in third person limited. Sorry. So we're in third person. Omniscient is my favorite. I do enjoy writing first person, and I always do present or past. I don't do very good writing present. I've tried before and I can't stick with it. But yeah, because with third person omniscient you can get so many perspectives and then you have a lot of freedom, but I also like first person because it's fun to give people a voice. I'm just worried that I'm going to end up giving them all the same voice, that they'll all just be some version of me, which actually all of our characters are some version of me as well. I should probably stop rambling so much. Alright, yeah, next. Category for YA or adult. My historical alternate world ones are all adults, but they're also a hard sell because they're not like adult. There's nothing sexy in them. But all the characters are adult. They're more like Robin McKinley adult, you know. But everything else is either YA or children's. So fairy tale, things like that. The characters are usually younger because I grew up loving Gail Carson Levine and Rob McKinley and all those people. But yeah, so I always say I'm a pantser because I don't outline. However, I've done a little more outlining since NaNoWriMo because it helps me get through drafts faster. So if it's something that I'm like, want to get done, I will sometimes come out with an outline, especially if it's near the end of the book. So maybe a planster because I do have a plan usually, but there are a lot of times where I don't know what's happening, so that's why the story sits for a long time and I work on another story. And you know how the pantster life goes. Okay. I have yet to be an author. I am not published yet. I am querying. I have queried another book before too. I don't know if you're supposed to admit that online, but whatever. But the first one I queried was of that hard to sell genre. So, I don't have a dream agent, and I don't know if having a dream agent or publisher is like necessarily a good thing. If I ever see my book in a store, I'll be like, that'll be more than I've had success so far. And there's a lot of really good agents. I had one agent that I really liked, but I got a rejection from her, which is fine. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. So the sort of content that I will be posting, I want to do a lot of like how-tos, which I know it might be like, wait, you're not published. How do you know how-tos? I am an English teacher, so I do know a lot of things about grammar and writing generally, and so I want to be able to share some of that knowledge, because I'm teaching writing all the time, and so I might post some of those kind of videos on here. So I started writing, oh gosh, when did I start writing? Always? Like as soon as I knew how to write? I remember particularly in 2nd grade there was a story that was like these two best friends in space, and of course there was a boy because I've been obsessed with romance forever, but their ship crashes and like they have to shoot aliens together. That was 2nd grade, and I remember we had these little papers that we were writing a story on. They're like this big, and I just kept going, and my teacher's like, I can't print any more of these for you, and I was like, but the story's not done. So that's the first like written one I remember, but I also remember like in 1st grade crawling around the house pretending that I couldn't walk and like playing with my baby dolls like they were orphans. Oh my gosh, and the best one, in kindergarten, my markers, I have like intense, and I'll probably reference this again, I don't know, but like intense stories about those markers, like drama. It was, yeah, still means a lot to me, my markers. I can remember the entire story. So I guess the first story I could probably remember is maybe the markers. Oh. The authors that inspired me to write, probably one of the biggest influences would be Robin McKinley, because I just loved her stories and I love fairy tales and I love what she's able to do with words. It's probably the biggest one. But like my siblings also, they all wrote, so we all kind of wanted to write too. And yeah. Another big inspiration, Brian Jakes also, because he's just able to like create such an imaginative world, and just like, even though a lot of stories have similar plots, like to be able to create so many characters and to just keep going and keep producing and producing every year. And I like, as a kid, that was super exciting. Like every year you're like, all right, what is Brian Jakes gonna come out with this year? Yeah. So I think he was definitely helped inspire me to write. I am not a scheduled writer. I write when I have time. I'm a teacher, so again, that's not a lot of time, except during the summer, and there's like always other things going on, and I'm pretty sure I just have a hard time concentrating, and I have a hard time scheduling myself to do things, so it kind of just writes when it happens. And also, so there's times when like that's what happens all the time, like that's the thing I do, but then there are times when it's like there are other things to do. Like right now I'm also trying to focus more on reading, because reading is exhausting, and I love books, but I don't like the process of reading all the time, especially when I know I have my own books that I enjoy more. Which is a terrible attitude, but it's true. Yeah, if you're an agent, don't watch the video, please. I type everything. The reason why is because handwriting takes friggin' forever. My first book, the reason I finished it is because I handwrote it. So like sitting in my anthropology class in college and in government in high school, the lessons were nothing I hadn't heard before. And I mean, anthropology, he just repeated what we'd already read in the book. So I would take my notebook and like, it looks like you're taking notes. You're like, yeah, taking very steady notes. Writing about my characters. I did that, that's how I finished my first book. My second book, if you count my first NaNoWriMo novel, is because I was able to sit there in class and write it all the time. However, when it came to typing it up, only half of it was handwritten, and typing it up was a nightmare. It was good for editing, like it was good first edit, but like, oh my gosh. So anyway, so now there are times when I want to go back to handwriting, especially when I'm sitting in a meeting that, yeah, especially when I am sitting in a waiting for something and I'm like, oh, I have a notebook, I can just write. But then I think about how long it took to type up my activity and I'm like, yeah. So I like handwriting. It is fun, sometimes more imaginative, but the typing it up afterward is just too much. Especially because my handwriting is really bad. It probably would be better if my handwriting was not so awful. Where I write is on my bed. Literally just on my bed. Yeah, I do like writing outside occasionally during the summer, but comfort is a huge thing for me. So if I can do something in bed, like, I'm there. And then what am I looking forward to most in the AuthorTube community? Is just engaging, hopefully creating something that's helpful for other people, and also just like, I love watching Lexus Dunn's videos, and I like reading comments on them, especially during live streams. And so, like, yeah, I just would like to engage more with authors and hopefully put things out there that will be helpful to other people. Share some of the stuff I learned teaching, because like I really do learn while I teach. It's like, I'm like, okay kids, today we're learning about voice, and then I'm like, what is voice? How do I do voice? Like, it's kind of intuitive. And so then I come up with lessons and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good way to teach voice. So I think it would be cool to share some of that. Well, I guess that's it for an introductory video. My first AuthorTube video. We'll see if anyone ends up watching it. Probably I will try to post, we're gonna put a low ball of like twice a month. I would like to be more than that. I would like to get to at least once a week, but I don't know what life is gonna look like right now, and maybe it will only be me watching those videos of myself. So we'll see where that goes and go from there. So if you are interested in videos about writing, or me ranting about writing, or ranting about storytelling, feel free to follow. And if I do get published, I will let you know.